guys. Let's move on now to politics, Coyote.
Oh, yes, and it's a season of emergence of candidates, particularly presidential candidates across the political parties in Nigeria. Well, the APC, of course, expected President Bola Tinubu is the flag bearer. For the ADC, we got confirmation late yesterday that former Vice President Atiku Abubakar will be the flag bearer. Again, for a lot of people, no surprises. And we're expecting the NDC, which will begin its primary tomorrow. But during the week as well, the AAC held its own primaries. And well, the AAC has a presidential candidate now officially for the 2027 election. And we're joined by the candidate of the AAC, Mr. Sowore, joins us on the program this morning. Good morning and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on your show. Good morning. And happy Salah holiday season.
Well, for politicians, you definitely don't go on holidays because the work continues day and night, which is quite grueling, I must say. But speak to us about the process that brought you in as the presidential candidate of the AAC. As we've seen with the APC and the ADC, yours is also no surprise in that sense. So what is it with the AAC, or with you, I should say, that always returns you as a presidential candidate of the AAC, unanimously?
Well, it's a decision taken by the party members in conjunction with party leadership. It's a process that conforms with the current Electoral Act, and what we decided in AAC was that we adopt the consensus process where all the party members across board accept a presidential candidate who has indicated interest in running on the party's platform. So that's what happened, and it was done openly. It was live streamed for hours for all to see, and as you know, that's a decision of the party, and it conforms with party constitution as well.
So, talk to us about your party membership. We've seen the APC come up with about 11 million. The ADC yesterday, give or take, about 2.5 million. Mr. Atiku Abubakar got almost 2 million. Mr. Mechi got 500,000 of the votes. Mr. Ayatollah got 100 and something thousand. So put it together, about 2.5. What is the membership like for the AAC?
Well, the membership of the AAC grows on a daily basis because our recruitment process never stopped. But what we submitted to INEC the last time when our party registration was due was around 50,000 verifiable strong members across board. And most of these members registered online. We started online registration before any political party in Nigeria. You remember when I came to your studio in January, I mentioned that we blazed the trail regarding online registration. And we are not here to make up numbers. These are the people who indicated themselves, who registered online as members of the political party known as the AAC, and whose names, addresses, verifiable. Phone numbers we submitted to INEC. We didn't make up numbers. We didn't use INEC voters register to create fake accounts. But in other parties we have mentioned, of course, did it because they wanted to do direct primaries, in which, their primaries weren't the same as ours. But just so that you know, that's what we have presented to INEC.
So did you say 50,000?
Yes, about 50,000 strong members. No filters. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you that we have 10 million people that are fake.
Right. Jeffrey, go.
All right, so let's talk about the chances, of your party to be able to come into this race and make an impression. Now, looking through the numbers of when you started off contesting, that should be, if I'm correct, please correct me if I'm wrong, 2019, the record I have here, 5th position, 33,953 votes. 2023, about 14,600 votes, that's 16th position. So if you plot a tangent, it sloped downward almost by half. And the election in 2027 perhaps will be very competitive, given that the same frontliners and additional people have joined the race. Talk to us about what you think is going to be how you may fare, given the trend that I just read out.
Well, the trends you've read out are trends that have defined our politics and have robbed the political system of credibility. I keep telling you, and I've said this publicly, and it's been proven in some court cases, that these election results you always present to the Nigerian public are not legitimate. They are figures that were put together through a process of rigging and manipulation. That is why INEC has zero credibility today. I mean, the Independent National Electoral Commission. And whenever these numbers are read, you are reading from a jaundiced position of how this organization has fared. I have asked, and I say it all the time, that people who assign these numbers are in INEC. And when these numbers are read to my hearing, we dispute them because they don't come from the Nigerian people. People didn't vote for the people who are in power. And the people they vote for don't count because our electoral process has no credibility. And that's why we end up most of the time in court disputing these figures and also telling the Nigerian people that free, fair, and credible elections are central to real democracy. So when you read the numbers, also put it at the back of your mind that you are just reeling out numbers to the Nigerian people that are false and have no credibility. Because we, in those years, did not organize, I'm talking about 2019 and 2023, did not organize free and fair elections, credible elections.
Yeah.
And we all know that this is the outcome.
Yeah, Mr. Sowore, that's the record we have from INEC. And fortunately, unfortunately, you're going to subject yourself to the same electoral umpire in 2027. And election is about the game of numbers. I do not think anybody will doubt how you built your career, how you come this far. From the days of Unilag up to this moment, at least you're one of the politicians who can trace his history. And you're still in the trenches because we see you on the street protesting or advocating. So all of those really not in doubt. But when push comes to shove, it's about numbers. And those numbers will be decided by the people, managed by the electoral umpire. Now you've disputed the 33,000 or the 16,000 in 2 successive elections, but you're now out again for this election. So that's why I'm asking that question about your ability to fare within the system that you heavily criticize as far as the election is concerned. So what exactly are you trying to say if you constantly disagree with the numbers, but you show up every time still for this electoral umpire? Is it that you're hoping that it's going to be better?
I'm not hoping that it will be better. I'm fighting to ensure that we actually have real elections. And you understand that I was one of the leaders of the protestations against INEC a few months ago when the National Assembly came up with new electoral act that we know would rob the people once again of their rights to have free, credible, and fair elections. So I am saying candidly to you that these numbers are not legitimate. As to whether I will fare well with INEC as it is, well, of course, I don't trust INEC, but I trust the Nigerian people, where we trust on the consciousness that we built with our people, that we can force a free and fair electoral process on INEC. When you reel out these numbers, I want to remind you that these numbers that you reel out that are not legitimate, that are not correct, that do not have integrity, do not form a basis for us to have conversation about free and fair elections. So you can't say that, oh, because INEC presented fake numbers, we must accept them as fait accompli. No, I am not the kind of person that will accept very wrong things as the right things simply because we've been doing the wrong thing for a long time and that we should just accept that there's nothing we can do about it. I am not the only one. Almost every candidate in the 2023 election disputed these numbers. In fact, what is an irony is that even the candidates that went to court would read my own numbers but reject the numbers that they got in the election. Irony. But that's not what we are here to talk about. We are here to talk about to the Nigerian people that they have a chance now, having known that the people who come into office through INEC rigged elections are going to put them back in poverty, in misery, and make their lives terrible. They are going to leave your children in the hands of kidnappers. They are going to make your schools unsafe. Your roads are going to kill you. They keep putting your hospitals as death centers and not health centers. I think those conversations are what we should be having and have a chance to speak directly to the Nigerian people. By the way, sir, I hope that just as you are able to interview me after I became the candidate of my party, we won't hear that the other persons, like the president of Nigeria, who is the candidate of APC, cannot come to the media to explain what he plans to do for the Nigerian people. Or that you guys will not shield the candidate of the ADC, Atiku, from coming to the media, because we must question everybody who has presented himself or whose party represented Nigerian people. You must have them come to your hot seats or mild seats or cool seats to discuss how we're going to move this Nigeria out of the misery and doldrum into which they themselves put it into. And before you say that I'm diverting or digressing, I'm just saying those are the most important issues. And of course, we must ensure that elections are credible. And it's not something that INEC should dictate to us. It's what Nigerian people should dictate to INEC. And that's why we're in this race, and that's why we've never given up. By the way, as you know, since 2019 that I started running for office, established with my friends and colleagues and comrades a political party, I have been one of the most consistent candidates who has fought for electoral integrity, ensure that we fight against corruption and incompetence, and haven't allowed this country to be buried underground because we are active, unlike the other candidates who come to Nigeria on vacation during the election years. And we've had this conversation, over and over again. And by the way, I thank you for bringing me. This is a conversation we had last time, that you most constantly allow Nigerians to be engaged with candidates who have credible agenda, ideas, and manifestos, and credibility to save the country and stop reading numbers that are manipulated, badly mangled together to rig people into office, to make Nigeria become the poverty capital of the world and an ungovernable space today.
All right. Just before we leave the numbers, let's continue the conversation around your strategy for a bit in order to understand how you intend to get to the top job in the country. There are 8,809 wards, about 176,000 plus polling units. And I'm just checking to be very sure that perhaps the AAC has won an election in the past at any level. I'm yet to see that that any candidate of the AAC had won an election. You can correct me if that is wrong. So if you have a behemoth of logistics to attend to, and as it is known in Nigerian political parlance and culture, there must be a structure on ground. So does the AAC have the capacity to mobilize polling agents to ensure that it gets all of the votes in your favor that should come to you in this election? Or are you just relying on the good reasoning of Nigerians, to help you deliver victory in this election? What exactly is the strategy?
Well, first and foremost, AAC has structures across the country. We just had our primary elections, and I told you it was live streamed, so there's nothing to hide. People came from across the country, all the states, almost all the states, and state chairmen and secretaries were in attendance. We had members from across the country, As a digital party, we also live stream, and we had people join us through Zoom at this primary. So we have the structures, we have the capacity, and we keep building upon our ability to reach some of the most remote areas of the country. I'm lucky to understand that technology will be a driver for political participation and engagement as far back as 2018. Like I mentioned to you, we have been the first to blaze the trail in terms of online registration before it became the norm now. So we do have, and I would admit that we need to reach more people and mobilize people. Our app, by the way, will be out any moment from now, Sowore now, which will enable Nigerians to download, participate, find their polling units, find their wards, and organize and volunteer for the campaign. Yes, we do not have stolen money from the state coffers to buy votes, and we are not going to buy votes. We are going to sell ideas to the Nigerian people. And I'm saying to you humbly, that we are going to need Nigerians not only to understand us, but to also understand that this is about them. This is about freeing yourself. It's about liberating yourself. We can't keep pretending that our old political style and system of buying votes, buying delegates, and then rigging elections, engaging in violence, is going to take us anywhere. You've seen it. They've been doing it since 1999. It took you nowhere. So it is time for ideas to prevail and be legitimate, and to percolate to everybody. Say, look, if you already agree that there's a candidate who's got integrity, character, who has vision, why are we making it sound like that should not be where we should go? That we should always go with people who have no ideas, who practice violence, who don't believe in you, who steal whatever is left and meant for you and your children and the future. That is not the way to go. And, you know, I'm saying this because I think I don't want the conversation today to fly over anybody's head to say, oh, you know, Sowore came, is angry. No. Of course, I'm angry about the condition of our country. But I'm not angry with the Nigerian people, because I know that they've been putting you down over and over again for years. And some of you are so beaten down and confused that you don't even know what is right from what is wrong again. But the conversation should be about how to save this country and how to make the country work and how to have a sustainable, a nation that's secure and self-sufficient. That is what we are here to sell to the Nigerian people. This is how elections are done all over the world. You know, there are people with ideas. Their ideas are allowed to get to everybody who needs to hear them. And like, again, I want to thank you for bringing me back, because that was a conversation and agreement we had the last time, that you will allow these ideas to keep getting on to the people, that you will not interview me 5 times in an election season where you interviewed other people 10,000 times.
All right, Mr. Sowore.
And you haven't asked me for money. So I'm glad that we're doing that. But let's keep this going. And those who don't want to talk will never be heard. And those who want to speak must be heard across the country and across the world.
So, Mr. Sowore, for those who see you, Omoyele Sowore, as a traditional runner for the office of president and is not going to win, they think you're not going to win, but ask, why don't you, test your popularity, and perhaps this time you could win if you run for the House of Representatives or the Senate, and begin to change the system from within? What would you say to them?
Well, I cannot help those people who project their weaknesses on others, or who have inferiority complex or any kind of complex that has paralyzed them to the point that they will look at a person with integrity, somebody who has brain, who is 56 years old, qualified according to the electoral laws, that you must go for a lower office because you can only think small. I have said it, that people have advised me to go to Ondo State. And I said, if I transform Ondo State, what happens to Kwara State, Kogi State? What happens to Edo State? What happens to Ogun State? I'm talking about the surrounding states. They will overwhelm Ondo State. So the place that needs to be transformed in the entire country. If you believe in what I'm telling you, that we can work together and make this country work, let's go for it. Those who want to go to the National Assembly, they are at liberty to go there and enjoy their time and transform the place. Those who want to go inside and transform from inside, they are at liberty to do it. But we know everybody that said they want to go inside, how They have ended up in the cemetery of the inside, and we no longer hear from them. It's like satellite lost in the space. I want to do my best in my lifetime to make my country, Nigeria, work. I want Nigeria to enjoy prosperity, peace, progress, and security. I know how to do it. I know we can do it. You don't need a talisman to construct roads or send children to school and protect them, or pay police and workers very well, pay teachers, retain your doctors, invest in education, invest in women, and have an economic model that targets different demographics that brings prosperity like they've done in India. They're doing it even in Botswana, small countries. So don't let us keep having an argument that is archaic and backward in thinking. You know, what I keep hearing from people who say that is that, oh, we must keep having a president that doesn't know what he's doing, but we must keep having House of Rep members who are sharp. So which one would you rather do? The sharp guy becomes president, and then he encourages and inspires other sharp people to be in the National Assembly. Right. You know, appoints sharp people to be in the judiciary. You know, appoints great people to manage the economy. Because the president of the country is the chief recruitment officer for sharp people, and the chief recruitment officer for dull people, if it's dull.
Well, this is clearly going to be a very interesting build-up, and we look forward to engaging on policies and all of the big conversations. We definitely give a platform to everyone who's willing to, of course, be a part of it. But, you know, we've seen all sorts during these primaries. We've seen the geometric counting for the APC, even for the ADC, and we've asked each of these parties what exactly is going on. If this is how your process is, what do we then expect of you if you get into power? And I want to do the same for the AAC. And, I mean, there are videos online from your primaries in Abuja, and we see, some of the people appearing to be covering their eyes, or their faces rather. People wondering, who are you hiding from? And you just see some of them looking uninterested when there's a big event happening. So perhaps you can also speak to that. What exactly was playing out with these young people? I mean, if you continue with the video, you see them covering their faces. I mean, they should be excited, right? So what was going on, Mr. Sowore? Any ideas?
Well, I think, you know, I understand that the media needs different angles and B-rolls from any event whenever there's an event. You know, the part you are showing was a time that the events may not have started. There's lighting in the room from photographers and videographers that may have made people to cover their faces. But let me say this to you, which is important, that you just need to go and watch the entire program, which lasted for almost 3 or 4 hours. And you see nothing but positive energy. It was dancing. I don't see you showing the B-roll of when people were singing Nigeria Jaga Jaga and dancing to Fela music, and also the speeches. Why are you not showing the speeches? One of the most powerful speeches that was given during this election season. I think that's what you should focus on. But here's what I want to say, just so that you clear your doubts about what might have been your B-roll from the scene, is that, you know, when the primaries of a serious party is organized, all kinds of people are invited. The participants, we also go out of our way, any serious party, to, invite observers. We invite students, we invite workers, all of them were there. After the event, you see that I went round and started greeting people. A group of bike riders came from Buhari. And why did they come? I was in Buhari a week before and found out the DPO seized over 150 bikes from them, and we're trying to extort them. And I reported to the CP, who made sure, the FCT CP, immediately made sure that their bikes were released to them. They came to honor me at these primaries. So we have an array of participants, but I urge you not to be biased and not to play games with the emotions of the public by playing the speech I gave at the event, by playing the music and the dancing and the chanting that took place at this event, and you get a different result. So showing one section of a hall that's packed full of young, energetic, positive party members of AAC, and saying that they are covering their faces or they are tired. You know, if that is what we want to do, we are doing the same thing that is pouring cold water on an event that was powerfully delivering on the future of these people. If I'm talking about the future of Nigerians, who do you think I want to talk to? I want to bring students into the place. We're talking about economy. We want to bring women because we discuss, and I hope this analysis becomes central to the conversation. Like I said,
absolutely.
We want to see more of this will happen in the hall and not a section of a bureau, you know, because the journalists can go inside the hall and go take bureau of what they want to present to the public.
Well, we have shown all the sides, Mr. Sowore, and just as we've done with the APC, the ADC, asked about their process, why did you count this way? Is there going to be penalty? Did you add the figures that were counted wrongly? We thought it fair to also
but we didn't count.
I'm saying that we have scrutinized. The point I'm making is we scrutinize the process of the APC, the ADC. We will do so for the NDC, and the same we're doing for the AAC. And I think you should thank us for giving you the opportunity to speak to exactly what played out there, so it clears the air, whatever is going on online, because I'm sure you've seen some of those comments.
I appreciate it. You know, look, I understand that they need to troll us because
no, this is not trolling, Mr. Sowore. I mean, you know us too well. You know us too well. This is not trolling.
I'm not talking about what you are doing.
Okay.
And we're talking about, no, I'm not talking about you. Most of these things you're picking up come from the vibes of trolls on Twitter. They've been on our case since this convention took place because they never expected our convention to be as great as this. You know, they're used to the convention that have SUVs, big men, and, you know, colorful. But this one was just sheer energy, brilliance, and authoritative discipline and dignity of people who are oppressed, who are united.
All right. Mr. Sowore, always a pleasure speaking with you. This is just the scratch of sorts. We're scratching the surface. I would definitely engage you. We hope to also get the chairman of the AAC and other people come to engage us as we have other parties on a panel. So all of us can speak to the ideas, the policies, and give Nigerians at least a full picture of what the parties and the candidates have.
And let them choose the best.
Absolutely. Yes. That is our desire. But again, we have to thank you. You always show up. That is one thing no one can take away from you, unlike some others. Mr. Sowore, the presidential candidate of the African Action Congress, publisher, Sarah Reporters, thank you for your time. Now presidential candidate in the build-up. Wish you the very best.
Thanks for having me. Have a nice holiday season.
Well, holiday is a word strange to us right here. We'll take a quick break now. And when we return, the conversation continues. Stay with us.